What is going on, people? Welcome to Throw Down Your Questions, episode 323. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I am joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Brian Manjoma.
Some people are out here arguing about dirt, while I'm out here playing games and getting platinums.
Yes, I thought you were going to say that people out there arguing about dirt, meanwhile you are playing Dirt 5.
Oh no, I'm out here like playing games. These guys are just talking about games.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how typical fanboys are. They don't actually play games; they just argue about them all day, and then end up looking stupid as always. But anyway, we are not here to talk about fanboys, or unless we get asked questions about it. Because this is throw on your questions. You already know. Brett may show up. We don't know. Adam, his kids are still up. It's hard to keep kids in. Tell them to go to bed now. It's like, go to bed. I don't have school tomorrow. It's a Rona. Like, they're not gonna fucking listen.
I don't know how belligerent his kids might be, though.
Yeah. Well, he makes them sound belligerent. He's like, yo, they don't want to listen. I try to put them to sleep. They just won't do it. That's how Adam sounds like. Okay, that must be belligerent. Like, bro, man, get that chancleta, man. Put them kids in line. Get the fucking belt and shit. And you're good. Anyway, all right. Oh yeah, almost forgot. I need to give a shout out to the Coalition crew, Gary and Richard. They brought back the co-op people. Co-op is semi back, so they brought it over the weekend. They've been trying to do this for a couple of weeks now, but just things haven't aligned. And I told them, because Gary and I and Richard and our boy Reggie were in a chat together, and we talk every day. And I'm like, yo, you guys bring back the co-op, you need to have me on, bro. Gotta have me on. So I was on the episode, man. We were having a good time. It was us and our boy Austin. Austin, he's also from the Coalition from way back. But, here's the thing about the Coalition, man. I call that site the Kingmaker site because most of the people who are associated with it go on to bigger places. You see me, I'm already making my career. Austin, he's doing sound design for video games and shit. I'm forgetting the name of the game, but it's a big Sony game that recently came out. He's like, oh, it's so cool seeing my name in the credits. He's also working on something else. So I'm like, that's cool. Coalition is a great place to get your feet wet because good chance, there's a good chance you're going to get, up there. And I started stumbling because I was thinking about all these other people, right? David Jagano, right? Upload VR. Charles Singletary, PR for Evolve. So, Coalition is the spot, that's where it's at. So yeah, the co-op is back. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the last segment because we were running a little late. I had to go get dinner or whatever, but it was good. I went off about Dragon Age, which is ironic. That's actually our first question of the night, man. Or it will be as soon as I get my Chiron ready. I always forget about the Chirons.
Chiron!
Yeah. By the way, I guess we could briefly talk about it. What Brian was talking about was how today, you guys are going to love this story. So today on the old Twitters, an image started making the rounds that was supposedly from Starfield, the Bethesda game, right? Motherfuckers went crazy. Like, oh my God, it's coming. Xbox fanboys were like, I see you ponies. The game's going to come to our system, and that's it. Talking all this nonsense. Turns out, and of course the ponies were like, we don't care about Bethesda. Bethesda sucks. They make crappy games anyway. Fanboys going off and off. This is a Sunday, mind you. Dudes aren't with their families or girlfriends or nothing. They're just or playing games. Imagine that if these fanboys actually play games. No, they're bickering, So it turns out that image, right? And it looked a little off to me from the get-go, right? It turned out the image is a colored black and white image of a random place in Iceland. That's what set dudes off. That's what set dudes off. So it's like, come on, guys. What the fuck? What do we do? Like, again, and I tweeted, I'm like, hey, industry, can you please release more games so these bored fanboys have something to do besides complaining on social media all day? Because this is ridiculous right now, But
yeah.
That's what these guys do, man. All day. Again, it's Sunday. It's like, bro, go do something else, man. I realize we got the Rona going on. You can't do shit, but come on, man. Got to be something better than that, Anyway, let's get into it, man. First question. Mr. Roman Ronan. All right, this one is something we've talked about, but we've never been officially asked it before. So we'll go into it, especially considering all the latest events that have been going on. Right. With further development on Anthem officially canceled, is Dragon Age 4 going to be BioWare's Final Fantasy moment? As in, if the original Final Fantasy didn't succeed, Square as a company might not have survived. So if the next Dragon Age isn't a commercial and critical hit, is EA shutting down BioWare? We've said this many times. We are frightened for BioWare. Frightened, because if they don't deliver, man, with Dragon Age 4, that's it. And Mass Effect, they've got another Mass Effect coming. EA they don't care, bro. You've seen the history. You've seen the history. They do not give a fuck. So yeah, if those two games don't do well, they're done. Or worse yet, even worse fate. They're gonna force BioWare to make Need for Speed games. You know, that'll be even worse. I think they're gonna do that to Codemasters. So yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, again, we've talked about this a million times already, but you know, in light of everything that's been going on, what do you guys think? Is Dragon Age and Mass Effect the final, like the final things that BioWare needs to keep itself alive?
Yeah, I mean they're on the chopping block, and I thought that with Anthem, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good. And the worst thing is, this may not even be the end. They may, like Tony said, they may give them a bullshit game. That's what happened to Visceral. Visceral, who's a Dead Space studio, had to make Battlefield Hardline. They gave him Battlefield. Like, he gave the company who made Dead Space a Battlefield game, which flopped, by the way. Hardline flopped. It's not even really considered by Battlefield fans a Battlefield game, right? It was like cops and robbers, basically. That flopped. And then what happened to Visceral? Well, pour one out for them. They're gone. So, so Anthem was a big failure. Even even if Mass Effect Remastered sells, that's still an old game, right? They want something new to be successful. I have my fingers crossed that now that Dragon Age is not live service, there's going to be a single player experience that'll be better than what they had planned for it. But if it doesn't do well, yeah, that may be it, man. That you might write BioWare off.
And again, it's not crazy talk, because EA has done it countless times. For one of these shows, we need to have a sheet of, like, these are all the studios that EA killed, because there's a lot of them. You know, Brian, what's your take, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same fence here as Chris. I think that if BioWare doesn't perform well with with the next Dragon Age game, then it is definitely, like, that's it for them. Because we talked about it for Visceral Games when they got put on Hardline, because we were like, yeah, Visceral Games, they had Dead Space 3, and then they had Hardline, and then EA just axed them. So the going trend for EA is, if the games that you are on don't do well, then you either get transferred to something new, like Criterion has, you get dissolved, or you just get gone. So yeah, it is sad times, because it's fair to say that no one here wants BioWare to go for many different reasons. So it's not like we're saying that they should. We are saying that we are highly concerned.
Yes.
Because EA is just a dick like that. Not everyone is like Bungie, where they can, like, survive being swallowed up by a massive company and then be spat out on the other end. No, yeah, Bungie, the Destiny guys. Yeah, they're not that big, so I don't think they'll be able to survive, and it's depressing.
The thing with me is Dragon Age the franchise that you go to revive your struggling company? I mean, you know, I love Dragon Age. I played the first one, I played the second one, I didn't beat it, but you know, those are fine games and a lot of people like them, but is it something that's going to change, you know, the scales? I mean, Mass Effect for sure is that type of franchise, but, you know,
that's why I included both of them, to be honest. I think both those games are on the line right now. They're the ones that could save BioWare at this point, because remember, they are making another Mass Effect. That's been confirmed. That's in development.
Yeah, so I think Dragon Age. What happened?
Cat.
Manny's cat. Yeah.
There he is.
So I don't think Dragon Age is going to be the be all end all. Yeah, I think Mass Effect is definitely going to be it. Mass Effect, first off, if Dragon Age succeeds, I think it'll be a feel good story. But if the remaster doesn't do good and Mass Effect 4 doesn't do good, then that's when they can, that's when EA will put the nail on the coffin and just end them.
I think the remaster is easy money, to be honest. I think that's going to be a success. Yeah, that's instantly.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, we need to see. And like, I said this on the co-op, Bioware they better chill with shoving some specific social things into these games, man. Just make them what they're supposed to be. Stop, you know what I'm saying? Don't do any of that stuff, man. Because no, no, make them what they're supposed to be. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda had way more issues than that. It's like,
yeah, that was the least of its problems.
Yeah, the characters weren't even fucking moving when they were supposed to move.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Yo, man, how the hell did the humans look more alien than the aliens, man? Like, bruh.
What Archer or whatever the hell that character was, that one looked like an alien. The main character looked like an alien. She couldn't stop smiling.
Yeah, yeah, both versions. I forgot their name. Who cares?
Ryder. That was
Ryder. There you go, with a Y, I believe.
Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to see. It's like, Bioware was a company that's synonymous for making story-based games.
Yeah. And,
with Anthem, and it's like, oh, we finally get to make a story-based game again. So hopefully they're able to, get back to their old glory, but we'll see about that.
We will see about that.
I think the thing about, like Carlos, you said, is, Dragon Age, the game to be the, like, hey, we're coming back sort of game. But at the same time, it's like, what else do they have right now? You can't say, hey, we're going to be doing another Mass Effect game.
Well, they are making another Mass Effect game.
But it's not coming out anytime soon.
No. That's why I said it's going to be both of them. I don't think Dragon Age will be the nail on the coffin. It'll be if Mass Effect fails,
Well, the one thing I feel about, I know, most of the folks in here like Dragon Age, but I always felt like Dragon Age in general felt like the lesser cousin of what Mass Effect was.
People will argue with you on that.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, they would.
Well,
they would.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Go ahead. I'll say something after that.
Because between the games, there's never been an aesthetic language between them. There's never like one, like the first Dragon Age looked like a generic garbage. The second one looked like weird stylized stuff, and a bunch of the stuff that you could do was taken out from the second one. So they've, for the second one. So it's like it seems like they don't. As beloved as the series is, there is no cohesion between any of the titles.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming at it from like an artistic standpoint, which I understand.
They have the same characters, similar characters, some of the same events, something like that. But there's really no cohesion between them.
Well, from an art style, I agree with you. But the reason people would argue with you is because, and I actually do agree at this point, the lore in Dragon Age is much more thought out than it is in Mass Effect. Like, it is a lot deeper, more well thought out. There's just more to it. That's why people they like Dragon Age more, even if they believe if Mass Effect is a better game, they like Dragon Age more because the characters and the world is better thought out. But I agree with you 100% that they're not aesthetically the same. If you look at like Dragon Age Inquisition, Dragon Age 1, they have the same characters like a lot, but they don't look the same. It's like, I know it's her because she has red hair. That's about it. Mass Effect has the same design throughout, to the point where it's a little detrimental. I'm like, how the fuck do all these aliens have the same design? Because it's the same artist,
Well, that's the one problem with design anyway. You probably want to have for different sort of cultures. You probably want to have a different artist, so they have a different aesthetic than the other ones.
Yeah,
but then again, like there is it's like 100 years of living together, right, in this mass relay world. So maybe there's been a lot of cross pollination between the cultures.
I think there has to be that, but at the same time, there should still be differences between each culture. You don't really see that, but why it's like that. It's just video games; they can't design all this crazy shit.
Exactly.
But yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Bioware. We'll see. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Next up, we got a question from Tumeke. All right. Okay. What are your thoughts on Drew Murray leaving the initiative and heading back to Insomniac? What does this mean for Xbox Game Studios, given that they have had 3 high-ups leave over the last year? I know people move on all the time, but could there be more to this? Yeah, this was something that happened like a week and a half ago. Drew Murray, he was interesting guy. So he was at Insomniac originally, right? Then went over to the Initiative, right, as an Xbox studio. Then he went back to Insomniac. You know, he got heat from fanboys. Oh, you fucking traitor! How dare you leave Xbox? Really? So yeah, is there a sign of something going on behind the scenes, or is it just, hey, people are just moving on? Chris, why don't you take this one? Actually,
what did Drew do beforehand?
He was on Insomniac.
What did he do?
I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I could look it up. And Chris, you can answer the question. Is it a sign? Because I don't think it's a sign of anything, to be honest. But you know, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count on it. I would say if you saw a mass exodus of people from Initiative or multiple game studios like 343, if you saw, I see seen a couple of exits, but I think that's more of political stuff, where Microsoft is so you have like top down. You just styles of management. It's either you do top down, where everything from the executive level, they make decisions, and then you have to execute, or you bottom up, or you have a combination or top down, bottom up. But it seems to me that seeing how Microsoft operates and seeing what happened with Bungie in the past, and how they put together 343 Studios, how they put together Initiative, Microsoft clearly sets everything from the top and it funnels down. And people like Drew Murray and stuff, maybe they feel creatively stifled. Maybe Microsoft making a lot of decisions he doesn't agree with, and eventually you're just going to be like, you know what, I was happier where I was. And he goes back. I don't think that's a sign like, oh, Initiative's falling apart. I just think Microsoft's management style sucks, and they need to really rethink how they do it. That top-down strategy causes a lot of strife, and that's not even a unique problem to them. That's just an overarching philosophical issue where you don't trust the people who are in even at the management or executive level of the studio. You're from Xbox and from the executive level, you're saying you need to produce this and these are the timelines and whatever, and you are not letting the studio guys tell you what they are capable of or whatever, or you're rejecting their analysis or whatever, and that causes problems, right? You need to trust those guys because they're the ones at the end of the day developing the games. And I see that happening over and over again.
Yeah, he's a designer, by the way.
Yeah, he's a designer, but the big part of what he was a designer on was on the new Perfect Dark game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Why if there's obviously there's a new Perfect Dark game being released, why leave while the game is being developed?
I don't know, man. He wasn't feeling the rainbow, man.
It's probably not to be doom and gloom, but it sounds like something's not going on to his liking, and he decided to go back to where he was familiar.
Well, see, that's to my point. I mean, he sounds like a very creative person. He probably has ideas of how the characters multiple characters should look, and he's getting directive from somewhere else, and I'm thinking it's coming from outside Initiative, probably either from Xbox executive level or from Microsoft, saying, hey, this needs to look like this, or these characters, we don't like these characters. And eventually you're going to hit a point where you're getting pushback, and it's like, why am I getting this pushback? I'm the designer, I'm the creative lead, I'm supposed to be able to decide this, and I'm working with my team, and this is what's working, and you're telling me this doesn't work. Eventually you're just going to get fed up and go somewhere else. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
that's what it's sounding like. But I mean, I feel like a lot of it might be just the higher ups at Microsoft sort of maybe getting their nose into something that they shouldn't really be nosing in, allowing their teams to sort of do the things that they're supposed to do.
I'm going to say it's a little something. Wait, let me. I found my tinfoil hat.
Here we go.
But I'm thinking like maybe they are pushing down a little too much on some woke stuff with the designs, and he's not digging it. I'm going to say that. I'm going to leave that right there. Let me just say this: Joanna Dark, she should have titties, man. She should look like a woman. I don't want her to look like a woman. So I'm just going to leave that
making her look like
like a plank of wood.
Oh God.
Yo, anybody see Battletoads? Those designs?
Man.
Yo, anybody remember what the Dark Queen used to look like?
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Man, no comment. Oh God. All right, man, let's move on. Next question. This is also from Tumeke. All right. PS Plus has delivered another fantastic month for gamers. If you look at what it has offered since the PS5 launch and add in the PS Plus collection, is PS Plus becoming the best value in gaming? Looking game by game, it's hard to argue. Okay, so we've had about 3 good months of PS Plus because PS Plus has been abysmal for like 4 years, basically. It's been bad.
Yeah.
Like I haven't downloaded anything off PS Plus in years, So the last 3 months have been pretty dope. Even though ironically, I still haven't got anything because all the games they have for it I already own. But I think it's good. But I don't care if I'm going to sound pessimistic. I think this train's going to end eventually. I think here's the thing. I want to say that they're doing this to get people to buy PS5s. Nobody could even buy a PS5 anyway.
Yeah.
So I think this gravy train's going to end soon. I think by next month, that's it. We're going to go back to whack titles again. This month, they didn't even offer a single PS5 title because there are no PS5 titles. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's just to keep people engaged with PS Plus subscriptions and stuff because they still have to keep the PS4 people happy. So they're really giving you good deals, but that's going to end as soon as I don't think it'll be even next month. I think as soon as oh yeah, no, it is next month because once Returnal and all that stuff comes out, and by May for sure, it's gonna go back. They're gonna go back to offering you trash.
Yeah.
Because then the PS5 games start rolling out, right? And even if you have the cross-gen stuff, they're gonna push the PS5 stuff. So once they have that, they'll be like, yeah, just buy that. Those buy the $70 game. No, we're gonna give you Binding of Isaac again on PS Plus or some other shit. Here, Life of Black Tiger is free. Go
yeah, right there you go. The illest game ever. Yeah, they're gonna go back to trash.
Yeah, so far. I mean, I don't think they're gonna go back to trash. I just think that they're probably trying to keep people. I noticed that they did this thing twice. What they're doing with Final Fantasy, where they're essentially to coincide with the launch of the, PlayStation 5 version of a game, they released the PlayStation 4 version on Plus.
Yeah.
But the caveat being, if you want to upgrade from the PlayStation Plus version of, let's say, Control, you have to buy the game again.
Yeah. Same thing with Final Fantasy.
Same thing with Final Fantasy. It's an interesting sort of strategy. I don't know if it's working, but they did it twice.
I don't know, because look at Control last year. It was Remedy's best-selling year, and they didn't put out a single new game. The only thing they had was still Control.
Yeah, so maybe what did that thing? I mean, did that PlayStation Plus thing give them a shot in the arm?
Who knows, man?
I don't know.
But yeah, I wouldn't go. By the way, that quote or whatever, the best value in gaming, that's often attributed to Xbox Live. So I think he's trying to say, is this better than Xbox Live? No, it's not.
Game Pass.
The Game Pass, excuse me. Game Pass. Game Pass gives you like, what is it, 100 free games every month? Like, come on, bro. Yeah. You can't beat that. PS Plus cannot compete with that. PS Plus could have way better games on it, but it's still 3 games a month, And
then also, yeah, exactly. Like, if you miss out on that month, then you're screwed.
That's it.
Like, you can say, like, oh, it's great that February's games are good or December's games are good. Like, but can you get them now, though? Like, if someone was like, roll up and get PSN Plus now, any game before this month, they have nothing to it. So it's difficult to really compare it.
Yeah.
And plus, I really can't say it is good value because, again, there's so little choice in the games. I remember when there was a time when you used to be able to vote for the games that are coming out for that month. They did it for 1 month and that's it. It's like, why? People like that because then they had some sort of input as to what games they get free. Now it's just oh, we don't know. There's no real trend anymore. It's just whatever's flavor of the month. I mean, I went through and looked at the games. It seems again, Final Fantasy VII, because the PS5 version is out, so they want you to pay more for it. Farpoint VR game, Remnant from the Ashes, a really good game. I'm not gonna lie. And then the Marquette game, that's actually launching on day and date on the PSN Plus. And I actually did some research and looked at that game. It's a game made by 3 people. Again, I'm not using that as a dig. I'm just saying that this is a game that I knew nothing about. I found the trailer for on YouTube. It has 128 views.
Wow.
So I'm like, this game came literally from nowhere and it's on PSN Plus. Why is that? They still haven't put the Order on there or any of the smaller Uncharted games, but yet they put this up there. It's okay,
Gravity Rush hasn't been on there yet. Neither any of them. I think. Sony has a really strong library of games that have not been on Plus yet that they could put on there just to help entice people more on. But Marquette, I'm not saying that it should not be on there. I'm just surprised that a game that low key is on there. But fair enough. If they want more eyes, then that's good for them. Because again, I went through, I seen the trailer. It's like a puzzle game. I am excited, and I will be playing it. So I guess it done its job. But yeah, in terms of value, I just don't see it. And there's one thing I have to point out because it's pissing me off. People keep mentioning that you get Ratchet and Clank for free next month or something, or the month after. Even if you're not a PSN Plus subscriber, you just get the Ratchet and Clank game for free. But I'm like, dude, first of all, that was a PSN Plus game, and it's in the PSN Plus collection, and it's probably one of the worst performing Ratchet and Clank games. They're pretty much giving it away at this point, so I don't think that's a really big point to point out.
Wait, which Ratchet and Clank game?
The reboot.
Yeah,
the one
that's
that
a good
came
game.
with the film.
Great game, actually. But yeah, that is kind of weird, though. But you're giving, I don't know, that is kind of weird. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to be
just giving away for free. Yeah. You don't need to be a subscriber or anything.
Yeah, that's
just
weird.
If you have a Sony account, it's there for free. It's well, you have a PS5 and you're a PSN Plus guy, then you get it for free anyway. So it's it's being rehashed twice now. It's why?
Yeah, that's odd.
At least give something that's not been on there as hey, this is new. It's not been on there.
But yeah, again, I'm saying what I say. We may get one more good month out of PS Plus, and then it's going to be just because they've run out of games. They've run out of games basically. It's nothing out, and everything's getting delayed, so it's just going to go back to being trash again. So no, it's definitely not the best value out there. Certainly not for me because I'm again 3 months in a row. All the good games I would have wanted, they're already on. I have them, so I'm like, what's the point?
I think the good run will stay for most of this year, but I think after this year it's going to stop because I think after that, then Sony have said, okay, you know what, the PS5 guys have their PS5s, so we can't entice more, so we just need to ride out the wave. So I think it's just a first year of hey, PS5, Sony in the headlines, let's try and get as much ears and eyes on our service as possible. And I think after that, it's going to just die down.
I don't know, man. I'm going to push back on that a little bit, Brian.
Okay.
What do they have a year's worth of stuff? I honestly don't see this. I honestly don't see this extending for more than 2 months at most. This gravy train,
If they keep doing what they're doing, in that they mix in big name stuff in there, your Final Fantasies, your Controls, and all sorts, and also mix in titles that are day and date on there, like Oddworld, the Marquette game, and whatnot, then I think they'll keep enough eyes on there to ride out most of the year. And I think, well, until probably September, give or take, because by then it's the holiday season, and usually the holiday seasons they don't need any boost. So it's, well, let's say ride out until the holiday period.
Yeah.
So September, October.
Blitz to make it. He says, what about if they put Kena on? They're not putting Kena on PS Plus. They want to sell you that game. They're not putting that on PS Plus. I guarantee you that.
This ain't no PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah. So, you know, they're not giving that shit away. I guarantee you that. So basically, Brian, what you're telling me is we're going to get... So the big marquee games on PS Plus are going to be old PS4 games for the rest of the year. Like, those are going to be their big ones.
Yeah, and it'll be titles that people know about, that have been out there and they have seen them. So I am willing to bet from then till now, it'll be one first-party exclusive from Sony that's like one of the big dogs. So maybe Zero Dawn, maybe God of War,
big dogs.
maybe... I want to say Spider-Man, but I feel like that's a bit too much for PSN Plus.
Unless it's another DLC. By the way, to make it says that they are putting Kena on PS Plus, and that's confirmed. That's a mistake. Like, that's a game you want to sell. People are actually hyped about that game. That would be bad if they put it on PS Plus, because that game actually looks good, you know? Wow, okay. It's a $40 game, though. Okay, I got to look into this. Now you got me all fucked up to make it. It's a $40 game. Okay, that's good. That's good. You know, looks like a more budgety game, but I don't think it's like PS Plus. Like, I'll stop myself because I'm going to get people mad. I was going to say because it doesn't look like PS Plus filler. I'm just saying that's what PS Plus kind of is, man.
Yes,
you know?
PS Plus has decent games. To be fair, like you can't take that away from it. It has good games every now and then.
I mean, if you're I'm just seeing this through Tony's perspective. But like, if you're a Johnny Come Lately gamer, sure. But if you're like, you know, a guy who keeps away games all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point?
It's not okay. If you're just a person who has Plus and that's it, then you're getting a fairly reasonable deal. I have to admit. Like I am pretty much one of those guys now where all my PlayStation games are through Plus because, for the most part, I don't support Sony that much. So yeah. So in that aspect, you're getting a pretty reasonable deal. Again, this is from a person who's like, hey, if all you get is Plus games, then still decent. You know, again, Control, both. The Tomb Raiders or the Shadow.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're only getting Plus games, yeah, I guess.
You know,
yeah.
Both Just Cause 3 and Just Cause 4 have been on there. Destiny 2, well, before it went free to play, was on there. So, again, it's a decent amount of titles. Some high, some low, but, well, high budget, some low budget, but that's a good thing. You want a good mix of stuff.
Brad, just a question for you.
Hey, Brad, how you doing? You can't hear you because you're all in the background.
Question for you. Just out of curiosity, like when you get Control, like in your mind, how much value do you associate to that game?
What do you mean?
Like if you're like, I got this game for free, I saved blank.
I am seeing it more in the sense of I am paying for multiplayer, and this is a freebie sort of thing. So it's kind of like, hey, it's good I get this because I'm being forced to pay for multiplayer.
Yeah, no, I'm not even talking within the constraints of PlayStation Plus. And you know, I know you say you get it for free, but like, how much is it worth? Because we all automatically associate value to things, and so to say getting something for free means that you're not paying a certain price that you associate, you know, the same value to. So like when you get a game for free, are you getting a $60 game for free in your brain? Like I'm not leading you anywhere with this. I'm genuinely curious.
Oh yeah, quite a few of these are like top tier games, I'd say.
Okay.
Like again, take Control because that's the latest one there. Easily that's to me the Control Ultimate Edition is worth full price or just under that because I like stuff on sale. But yeah, it's something that I'm happy to play mostly full price for. It's like 80% full price. I can't do the conversion in my head since I'm doing different prices. Was that $50 ish? Yeah, it's a game I'd happily drop $50 for.
Okay, so like mostly full price. Like I will counter that with my frustration with the PlayStation because of course I have to be an antagonist, Brian. I love you, but I have to be. Most of the games that by the time they throw you are bargain bin games. They're running for $20 in for a physical copy in Walmart. So that's physical copy. So I tend to associate games when they come on there with the current value that they are, that they have in stores
Okay.
at the time they release it. So I think that might be some of the discrepancy between people finding value in it or not. Because you have a very, I don't want to say unique play style, but like you don't care about release dates. You have a very PC kind of mindset, which I think everybody should have. But unfortunately, most people don't. And that drives down the value of a lot of games. So yeah, you may get Control, but it's like getting the toy everybody wanted last Christmas when everybody else is done with it, kind of thing. At least in my book. So, and I think, like I said, a big discrepancy in that is fundamentally down to, well, what do you value these free things at?
As I said, like I put the value. I don't give them value as such. I see them more as it's nice getting something else than multiplayer that I pay for, because I feel like with PSN, the big thing that people are really paying for is the multiplayer part, because without it, most people just wouldn't even bother because it's not really worth the cost. So hence, as someone who plays some online games on PlayStation, I have to pay plus. There's no way to stop that. Like if I want to play like GTA with friends, I have to pay plus. So then I see these games as, hey, I can also increase the value of plus beyond just multiplayer, and that's it.
And I see the difference there. Like, and I have to say, like, I think you're coming from a more evolved mindset in the sense that that's where we all will be in 10 years.
That's one way to hit on a person.
Yeah, but no. I mean this in the sense that, in the literal sense, we will all be doing this in 10 years. Brian is looking at games like Netflix. When you watch a movie on Netflix, do you think about how much that movie's worth? No. You just think about it for the content that it is and the value it adds to the total package. But we're not thinking like that in terms of games yet. Most of the people aren't like Brian here. And that's why I said I wasn't generally trying to lead him, because I think his answer is honestly a weird kind of outlier. But most of us assign value to games. And I think the discussion of is PS Plus worth it really comes down to having to answer the fundamental question of, well, how much do I feel like I saved? Do I feel like I got, a fistful of $20 games and some indie titles that were probably on sale? And that shotgun approach, you can look at all the value of everything that they gave you, but they take that shotgun approach so that they hit everybody. It's not geared towards you. So unless you play every type of game, you caught 2, 3, maybe 4 of those titles. So 2, 3, 4 of those titles at $20 a pop comes up to $80. So is that worth it? Yeah, if it hits a few of the marks. But I think it really comes down, if you look at it like, man, just getting Control, I saved $60. That paid for the PlayStation subscription itself. Like, well, did it? Have you been to a Best Buy lately? So, I don't know. Maybe not antagonistic enough. I can come down harder on you guys. I'm curious. How do you guys feel when you get something for free? Like, how do you value it? Because you may say, and Tony, before you even go into it, you may say that you don't even think about it, but everybody does. Everybody feels like, there's a difference between a big ticket item that they give you at Comic-Con for free or a small, if they give you a keychain or if they give you a fucking tablet. In your mind, you're like, a tablet is worth hundreds of dollars. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That immediate idea of not an exact price, but how expensive, a range, kind of a vibe. You know what I mean? Well, what about what if you look at it like what other people are paying for it? Does that? No, I know, but like, so if you're saying I gave you a fucking one of those little Tyco fucking black and white like handheld games and a Switch, like you wouldn't be able to tell that there's a valuation difference between them. No, okay, so yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking like Price is Right.
Oh,
Like,
God
I
damn
think
it. By the way, I'm sorry, guys. Had my ass muted this entire time. I had to repeat all this shit. Okay, I'll just start from the top, and Brett, hopefully you can remember all this. Sorry about that, people. Sorry about that. Sorry. So I said that sometimes I feel you don't know me at all, and other times you know me very well. In this case, you know me very well. Yes, I don't think about that whatsoever. And then Brett asked me, like, would I put more value in a Tyco toy or a Switch? I'll be like, the Switch because it has better graphics. So there you go. We'll keep it from there.
Okay,
so basically my point is I don't really think about when something has value. Yes, I understand there's a monetary value to it, but I think about it like different than that. Like, remember, you and I always debate about like, this game is worth $20 to me. This game's worth $60 to me. I'm like, that shit doesn't matter to me. Like, did I enjoy it? Like, if I enjoyed a game that's 2 hours long, it's worth $60. If I didn't enjoy the game that's 200 hours long, then it wasn't worth the $60. So that's where I'm coming at it from.
Okay, so I'm curious about the rest of you guys. Like, even beyond video games, is am I the only one that has a basic idea of the value? Like, if you open up something, you get like a fucking collector's edition figure, and you're like, oh shit, this is expensive. Like,
by the way, it's a little bit of a leading question. By the way, Brett.
That when something's expensive. That's kind of the point that I'm saying. Like,
you should ask. Does it matter to you? I think that's what you should ask. Because you're asking, are you aware of this? Like, they're not dumb.
Yeah, dude, that's the first step. I'm not jumping to step 2. I'm just asking it first. Like, am I the only person who puts valuation on things like that? Am I weird?
All right, okay,
I genuinely have to ask this question to the room because I don't know whether Tony or I is the odd man out here. Crickets?
Guys, come on, answer Brett. Answer Brett here. You guys right here in the panel. Manny, Chris, Carlos, Brian.
This is live. We're talking to you.
I kind of don't understand the question.
Manny, you're muted, by the way.
You're on Manny.
Yeah. What? Who? What?
I guess,
where?
Brett, they don't understand your question. Am I the only? Now I'm going to ask am I the only one who understood Brett's question?
I mean, to be honest, it's like I kind of don't care.
I'm the same way. I don't care.
Okay, let me put it on this way. Is a video game worth the same amount of money the day it's released and 2 years later?
It depends on what the game offers. Like, if we're talking about the game Control decided, hey, we're going to be offering all of the DLC that we offered over for the last year.
Yeah, but I get this.
Is it?
I don't understand why I'm confusing people. It's not an abstract concept.
If you're getting a whole new package,
okay. I mean, I don't understand how I'm the only one. Like, you go to Walmart and there's a fucking price on the game, right? Like, that's how much people are willing to pay for it. That's how much its market valuation would be. Like, it's not an abstract concept. Like, and I fucking hate it. Like, when I go to, because there's a difference there. Because, like, let's all take Remnant from the Ashes, a game that I was trying to get everybody to play. Turns out you can buy a physical copy for about $17, but on PlayStation Network it's $40. How much is the game worth? What is the true value of the game here?
I don't think there is a true value because its value differs depending on what's selling.
I'm not talking about subjective value. I'm talking about
what are you talking about? It's not subjective. One place sells for 17, other sells for 40. So there is no true value. Two different places, man.
And you're asking for our opinion, so it's like,
okay,
doesn't matter.
So you don't believe in the Nintendo tax?
The Nintendo tax is true. Nintendo charges what they charge. That's what we call it, the Nintendo tax. Nintendo charges what they charge.
Doesn't matter if we like it or not. It's there.
Yeah,
that's what they value the game as.
If I'm misunderstanding, this whole Nintendo tax is not when they upcharge something for more than it's worth. They jack up the price.
I don't really say that's
They
because like Nintendo's going to charge
that's
you.
fair.
I just always say that Nintendo's going to charge you $60 no matter what, so it doesn't fucking matter, you know.
Yeah, but Brett, that's your interpretation of that kind of deal. Like for people, Skyward Sword $60 on the Switch. Excuse me, I'm buying it for fucking little
I
titty
get
tomorrow.
it. I get it. Like Skyrim is worth way more than $60 to me. I get where you guys are coming from, but like there's
Skyrim
also
ain't worth $60 right now.
the basic economics of supply and demand. If nobody's playing a game and nobody wants it, the value of it drops because there's no demand for it. It's not a subjective opinion.
Yeah, I know, but
it's
Brett,
not an idea.
Here's the thing: no one except for you cares about that. That in this panel, at least, the guys in the chat, believe it or not, Brett, they're actually agreeing with you. But like here, no one cares. That doesn't. I've never gone to store. Are people valuing this more than this? I don't care about that. Like, do I want that? Yes or no? It's as simple as that. And I think most of the guys here are the same way. It's like, do I want that? Yes. No, I don't want it, and leave it at that.
No,
it's not that complicated,
It's not saying that people, it's not saying that people on the other side of the argument don't do that, don't see something I say, I want that or I don't want that. But there is another layer to it. Like, yeah, maybe the chicken fingers are on sale because they're about to expire fucking tomorrow. That makes them less valuable because they're already turning bad. There is valuation to things, and that valuation drops over time.
That's not a good example. You can't use perishables against something that doesn't change its content over the years.
That's fair. I don't know a good analogy. I'd love to hear Chris pipe up in this one.
Yeah, Chris, what's your
whether
take
you agree with me or not?
Well, I mean, I agree with you on the Nintendo tax and stuff. I think Nintendo overvalues their stuff, but they consistently overvalue their stuff. Like, there's no way Mario Kart 8 is a $60 game at this point. It's like 7-8 years old. It's been on 2 systems, so they do definitely overcharge for stuff. They'll overcharge for stuff that they pull straight off of Steam, so you can just go on Steam and play for cheaper. But that's just what they do. For me, myself, I'm in agreement with the panel. Like, I don't give it much thought. I try to get value where I can. So the other day I saw the PS Plus games was Control. I was thinking about buying it, right? I was like, oh shit, I haven't played it yet. They put it up on PS Plus for free. So I mean, it's not free in the terms of I'm paying for PS Plus, but now I have access to it. I don't have to pay extra money for it, so I got it, right? And
yeah, but you don't for a split second think how much extra money you don't have to pay for it. There's not a moment where you're like, I saved this much money. Dude, we're all...
Not really.
No,
Really.
Like I said, I mean, I'm just like, oh, that's sweet. I downloaded it. I didn't think about, like, I saved $40 over, or $30. I don't know how much Ultimate Edition is at this point. I didn't go to Walmart and price match it and go, oh, well, Sony gave me a good value today. I don't really think about it. That's not to say other people don't think about it. Like, value is important in certain respects. We don't have unlimited money. I'm not, like, burning $100 bills to light my cigar or anything over here. So you do think about value in some things, but in terms of those deals, like Brian said, that's how I played Just Cause. It was just there one day, and I'm like, yes, please, I want to play that. I didn't think about, gee, they just saved me like $33.76. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that game I wanted to play, but I was like, I don't know about this. It was on PS Plus. I'm like, thank you, and I went and played it.
This is weird because like I'm aware of the current value. Like, I'm like, man, I want to play this game. It's kind of in my backlog. Every time I go to the store, I think it's still $40. Like, man, that thing is just hold its price. Like, not necessarily chopping the bit to play it, but I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to pay $40 for it, right? And then it comes on fucking PlayStation Plus, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is a heavy hitter. They're still charging for this fucking game. Like, that's awesome. It's still a live game. And then every once in a while, they'll throw a pity game at me that's fucking... Like, here, this was big 3 years ago. And I'm like, motherfucker, I've been to Target. I've seen this shit in the bin for $19. Nobody fucking wants this. You're kind of underhanding us to this because you realize that it's not making sales anymore. And I may still look at the game and I may still enjoy it and I may still appreciate the opportunity to do it. But I'm like, I recognize when they're just kind of tossing me a pittance, and I also recognize when they're tossing me a game that they rarely get. Well, let's be honest, they never give you a game that's worth $60 ever. That's not how PlayStation Plus works. That's the whole thing about Game Pass, when and if it happens when they start releasing games. Before you get too excited,
so you're saying
there's never going to be a $60 game, but there's definitely a difference between a $40 game and a $20 game.
Hey Brett.
Yo.
So I'm just trying to understand what the hell we're talking about here. So are you saying that the perception of the deal is what dictates what you play? Is
the
that
perception of how much you think the product is worth dictates how much of a deal you think you're getting, thus how much value you place in something. So when people say something like PlayStation Plus is totally worth it, it's because there's a secret number in their mind, a general number of money that they've saved. Oh, I would have bought this game, and I would have bought this game, and I would have bought this game. That would have been hundreds of dollars. Or like, I just saved $80. And they don't necessarily go that far. It's a general term of like, I just saved a lot of money, or I just saved a little bit of money. But it's the value you put in something, especially like games. Like, there's no physical value in a game disc. It can't fucking chop wood. It can't dice onions. It can't do fucking anything unless people want it. Unless people want the story in it. It's like a book, right? The physical manifestation of it is fucking worthless unless the stuff inside matters, right? So that valuation is completely up to people. It is in the air. It's ethereal, and it does kind of change by person. So when people say, like, some people will go out and shop for a TV, right? And they'll be like, oh man, like I saved $300 on this TV because the ad told me so. Or you might be like, oh, I'm watching this video card. I just watched it drop $400. I'm going to go buy this shit. And why are you going to go buy this shit? Because you think that video card is still worth the $1,200, even though they're selling it for $800. That's what drives you to go to the sale. You think the value is higher than the price. And that's an important distinction in human psychology, man. Because if you thought the game was still the card was only worth $600, you wouldn't be jumping to go get it for $800. Right, but 2 years later, that card is a little bit more aged, right? You don't think of it as a $600 card or an $800 card anymore. Now it's a $600 card. You have a mental valuation that dictates the actions of the things you buy and don't buy. So that's why I think this is an important question to ask when you're talking about how much is PlayStation Plus worth? Is PlayStation Plus worth the money? Is it worth the value? Well, that really depends on how much value you put in the parts of it. And apparently I'm the only one that thinks about how much something is worth. Which makes me think I'm probably just explaining this badly because I can't believe, like, that would mean all of you are completely immune to, be like, oh, this thing's on sale, I should grab it. And that's not there. It's a basic part of human psychology. So I'm apparently just explaining this terribly.
Maybe. By the way, to make it just said, he's like, what the fuck? I'm sorry for asking this question. Let's move on because this went on way too fucking long. And I don't even know what the hell we were talking about anymore. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. It was fun, though. I enjoyed it. Well, even though it was like, what? All right. Next up, we got... Where the hell are we? Logic Wins. He's also joining us in the chat. What's going on, brother? All right, his question is, given Sony's recent layoff of most of their Japanese studios and Microsoft canceling Scalebound years ago, is anyone else concerned about the future of non-Nintendo related first-party AAA Japanese IPs? I think it's a good question to ask. You're not going to be getting them from Microsoft, obviously. Sony, we may not be getting those anymore. Nintendo's going to be like the only one that's producing first-party Japanese RPGs or Japanese IPs, games, basically.
Yeah.
Technically, Gran Turismo counts.
It does, but it's probably like the last one.
I think that might be one of the last ones, Brian. Yeah, you're right.
To be honest,
it's also like one of the oldest IPs we have at the moment, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, you're right.
With the expense that seems to go into those games, I don't know how long that's going to last. It seems like they're chopping a block over there in Japan, and I don't know how long that Polyphony Digital has, especially with their games not hitting the numbers that they used to, and especially how much their games make.
Oh, by the way, he said that doesn't count because he's talking about new IPs. Thank you for keeping us on track. New games, new ones. No, I don't think so. To be honest,
new IPs. I mean, to be honest, with the way Sony's sort of going, it seems like they're looking at sequels sequels and and remakes now, and moving toward the Western development, which I think is a mistake.
I agree. You got to have both.
Because,
You got to have both, man. But Sony's being more Western focused now, which I think is a problem.
Which is a problem. They should be more global. If a game works out, and there should be those uniquely Japanese games along with the Western centric titles.
Yeah. Yeah, ever since they moved their studio, their headquarters to, what is it, Los Angeles, Chris? Yeah.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. Oh, it's even worse, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's where Sony Interactive Entertainment moved to.
There you go.
And I agree it's a mistake because you have different demographics in here and in Japan, right? So they for years Sony's been trusting the Western studios, Santa Monica, Bend, and all these guys to come up with new IPs, and so they've been leaning on them for that. But you have legacy titles also that you could have Studio Japan and other guys work on, right? And that appeal more there. I mean, I'd have to go do research. I don't know the answer to this. I don't know how well Days Gone did in Japan, or Horizon Zero Dawn, or God of War, and all these titles that are produced here. I don't know that answer. And then you're cutting off a resource of other IPs that were developed in Japan. You're just saying, we don't need those anymore. Well, I think that's a huge mistake. Yeah, you do need them. To say that you don't need IPs is ridiculous, because eventually when you fall on your face like every company does, everything comes in ebbs and flows, like you have feast and famine.
Yeah.
Sony's going to hit a bottom point, and they're going to start releasing classic collections and all this stuff, and we're going to see these IPs come back, right? So it's stupid to just write them off. I think, and this goes into another question later. I know about Jim Ryan. I think he's an idiot. But yeah, I think leaning too much on one shore or the other is a mistake.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just bad. It's like that's one of the things that made Sony great. Like they had such a diverse array of games. Right now, they're just gonna have the same type of big Western AAA games. Like we always talked about, like people talked about, like the Sony formula will become an actual real thing. You're not gonna see games like Gravity Rush anymore.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Patapon anymore. You're not gonna see any of these crazy games anymore, which is really unfortunate because those games gave Concrete Genie. You're not gonna see any of that anymore. These games gave Sony identity. It gave it like style and flavor. Now all that's gonna be washed away for these big AAA productions. And I'm saying this as a AAA guy. Like, come on, man. The only AAA Japanese are IPs you're gonna get are gonna be from third parties now. Sony's not gonna make them.
And games like also games like Shadow of the Colossus and the Last Guardian.
Exactly.
Those games are only games that can exist in that sort of environment.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that sort of stuff. You're just going to see these sort of again formulaic sort of titles.
Yeah, those are games that Sony would have made.
Do I want another open world or story driven sort of third person game? I would like a little bit more than that. Just than sort of rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett.
The insinuation is that only Japanese developers can be creative.
We're not saying that.
Not saying that they can only be creative, but name one Western studio beside of an independent studio that has done the stuff that Sony, Japan studio has done.
See, that's the thing.
and done them on a AAA scale.
See, that's the thing. The ideas are here. They are independent studios, but just because independent studios has turned into the testing ground of ideas, so I don't necessarily.
Sony chose to invest in the creator. That was the old way of doing it, where they said, "Okay, you're a creator. We're not going to mess with you, and we're going to let you have your idea and let you do your crazy ass game." That's the way it should be. But now we're moving into a space where it's like, okay, how much money is it going to make? Didn't they talk about it not long ago, where Jim Ryan and the dude who formerly ran the Horizon studio, Guerrilla Games,
Herman Hulse, right? Yeah,
had a what is it? What do they call it? A coalition or something like that to kind of review titles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
what does that sound like? It sounds like they're vetting ideas as opposed to sort of letting these things come through.
Yeah.
I even think a crazy ass game like Death Stranding is not even possible right now.
Yeah, not anymore. Not with the Jim Ryan regime. No.
And to be honest, what happened with Sony, with the change of the guard, I think they knew all this was happening, and that's why all those guys jumped off the ship. This is before it really started to come to pass. It's why Shohei Yoshida is not not lead of Japan Studios, but he decided to go into the independent space because that's still the space where there's innovation and different ideas happening. And I think that's probably why he took that role.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
Go ahead. I hate to ask the question. Is there the market for these games?
Yeah, there is. They're not going to be big super sellers, but people buy them just like people buy indie games. Those games don't sell crazy amounts, but people still buy them,
It's kind of what I'm saying. Like, it seems like it's found its place in the market. I don't think if all the first party studios in Japan, if they close today, I think there's still a niche for that. I think there's still a draw and a need for that. Maybe not a big one, and ideally something's going to fill that role. It's just kind of the way that these things go. If there's a market, somebody's going to tap it.
Yeah, but it's not going to be one of the big guys, That's the point we're trying to make with this whole thing. Like maybe it'll be Bandai Namco because again, we're trying to look for these type of games that are uniquely Japanese, not just like they're different. It's like they're different and they're Japanese. They both come together like that, Western studios, indie guys, they can make cool, unique little things, but they're still going to be Western games. They're not going to have that specific Japanese flavor.
Also, the thing is that what Western centric company do you ever see investing in actual game creator ideas? Microsoft wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
Either was Nintendo. So Sony was actually investing in these
Sony was the only one, yeah.
It's sort of these crazy ideas. What was it?
Yep. By the way, bro, what's going on with your mic tonight, man?
I'm outside. I'm having a cigarette.
Oh, no wonder. Okay.
You got to give credit where credit's due. Microsoft dropped out a bunch of games that were failures, but they were trying new things. They're trying new angles, and so you said they weren't, and Pass is also not as
they weren't, but they
let them finish, man. Let them finish.
They did. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brett.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I'm hoping that they'll do something is with the amount of studios that they've got. They can't. I'm hoping they're not just all going to come out with the same game over and over and over again. They're repeating here. I think the problem lies in either there not being a market for this, or Sony not being interested as a company in branching out. So, like, where do you either there's a natural extinction going on where people just aren't wanting these games anymore, so of course they're not going to invest in a AAA game, or people want this, but Sony's saying, meh, I'd rather do Western titles. So, like, which does it come down to?
Well, it's just they're becoming Microsoft and Microsoft's becoming Sony.
That's kind of what it feels like.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
They're literally role reversing. Whereas we're in the beginnings of the Xbox environment, they were investing in new titles. They were investing in the Japanese the Japanese demographic. They were literally seeking out new developers to create new titles for their game and their console. And then once Halo came out, that's when they started closing down the door and saying, all right, we already got something, so now we're just going to focus on this. Oh, hey, we got Gears of War. Now we're just going to focus on this. So now you just have those two things.
Hey, by the way, when is the last time Sony Japan did a AAA game?
Carlos, you sound like shit too now.
Oh, sorry. How about now?
Yeah, go ahead.
When's the last time Sony did a AAA game from Sony Japan Studio?
That's a good question. Because the thing is, like, the most I could think of is like AA, like Gravity Rush. That's about it,
Yeah, because they're really in like tweener games.
Yeah, they're in betweener games for sure. But here's the thing, and I'm glad we brought up the whole Xbox angle. It's like, maybe Xbox could be the home of these kind of games, but the problem is the fan base. Xbox fans don't care about these games. Xbox during the 360 era, they tried to bring Japanese games to the Xbox. Failed, right? They tried again, Xbox One. Failed. So I'm like, it's the third time going to be the charm. And I don't really see Sony guys going over to Xbox to play any Japanese games because they're locked into their system. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's just gonna have to be third parties like Square Enix or specifically Bandai Namco is probably gonna have to start making these type of games, or giving these studios spaces to make their wacky ideas.
Tony, what I think is going to happen is I think we're seeing the pendulum swing towards very cookie cutter. But again, talking about the people in gaming, the market itself, which feels like a weird word to use, but I'm just going to go with it. They do want creativity. They do want new ideas. So a new platform will most likely open up where they can express these ideas, and then the company that's sponsoring it or platforming it can then steal these ideas for money. Right? So and call me a cynic, that's how I see it's going to go. They're like, shit, we need ideas. So here's a creator platform. That's a good idea. We're going to steal that and make billions of dollars off it. Give you nothing. Because that's how companies work. But they will find a way to extract creativity, and they will probably pull some, indie or mid-tier developers into the big studios to bring those ideas in with them. So I don't necessarily think I think everything's kind of evening itself out. Weird enough, years ago I was upset by how volatile everything was, but now everything seems to kind of settled. You put out a game, you put out an indie game, it gets some success, you get thrown on the platform, somebody steals your ideas or brings you into their team, and you go from there. So as long as people, the guiding company isn't, dead set on just making Fast and Furious the video game, I think you'll see some creative expression. Because there are always ideas, and there are always people being creative. And now more than ever, people have the ability to create those ideas and share them online. And then I get cynical and say, and get them stolen. So, there's a dose of real world right there.
I want to bring up something Logic Win said. I completely didn't even consider this, but it's a good point. He goes, Tony, I'd argue it's different this time because now Xbox gamers can try these experimental games on Game Pass risk-free. Yeah, he's right. So ironically enough, Xbox may be the home of these guys who have left Japan studio. They make their own studios and work with a Microsoft.
Yeah,
it could work. Yeah, I could see that happening actually.
You don't want to put all the old proverb, you put your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
like Jim Ryan's philosophy is all our innovations coming from the Western developers, so we're just going to do that. But here's the thing: why would you want that if you funnel tons of money into the next Horizon or the next whatever Bend works on, whatever, and it bombs, right? You don't have the residuals coming from your Japanese IP, even though they're smaller. If it was Gravity Rush 3 and it made a modest amount of money, that's still money, right? It's still profit. So to cut that off and just be like, nah, we're just all in on our 4 Western studios or whatever, and we're just going to do that. That doesn't seem like a smart strategy.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of businesses just go down that route. It's like, let's just focus on the mega sellers and don't worry about the middle guys. Whereas before, the middle guys were what kept everything afloat,
Yeah.
But that's not just how it is anymore.
And then there's the other thing, like when just like in Hollywood, right? The more these budgets start going up, the more the big guys upstairs start having more say as to what the direction that these games are going to go. And it's like, hey, well, you're spending all this money on this game. Well, you better put this, and this in there.
Yeah,
which is what happens with game companies like Bioware.
Yeah, they want to make, as Chris calls it, the Applebee's of games. Got to have everything, All right, man. Let's move on. We still got more questions to answer tonight. All right. Hey, this one's related to the last one. This one's from Mob Hits. All right. With Sony's Japan studio shrinking and this week's lackluster state of play, how would you rate Jim Ryan's performance thus far?
Boo.
Boo. He gets a solid
Carlos,
boo.
Yo, man, you guys already know, man.
Yeah, there you are. Say it, Carlos. Say it.
Yo, man, fuck you,
man. Yeah.
Boo this man.
It's a lot of stuff that's just not been good, man. They've been in their little, like Brett likes to say, their ivory tower, and it's all of these decisions that have been made since this guy's been on. It's just, man, they're going down a path that is not looking good.
Yeah,
They have their fanboys to carry them though.
Yeah, they got the fanboys, but yeah, no. Jim Ryan is like whoever's running dual shockers nowadays, man. It's just
Damn.
yeah, it's just all about the clicks and money.
fired.
I said it, man. I said it. It's sad, man. It's really sad because again, like Chris has been saying, it's like all this guy cares about is like what's sellings, what's making us the most money. That shit's not making money. Fuck it, it's gone. You know, it's that type of mentality. And again, like. You missed the last guys that were there, right? The PS4 crew, you know, those guys had a heart, they had passion. This guy's just a business dude, you know. And unfortunately, I'm pretty, you know, Sony's doing I mean, not unfortunate for them. Obviously, Sony's making a lot of fucking money with this guy, so he ain't going anywhere anytime soon. But you know, something's gonna have to give eventually, you know, because I really think, again, just going back to our last topic, bad idea to cut those studios off, man. Bad idea, but. You know,
And I have some thoughts, but I'll save it for the post show.
oh, excuse me. Oh man,
Whoa.
Is he being a good businessman?
he's making a lot of money. That's what businessmen are there to do. Yeah,
Well, and here's the thing.
Well,
though,
no, and here's the, I understand what you're saying, Brett. Short term, yes. His long term strategy is poor.
yes.
His long term strategy is quite poor.
it's like he's robbing the place and then taking his golden parachute out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's like he's being a good businessman in the short term, but long term, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
He's one of those 5-year CEOs, man.
Yes.
He just jumps into a CEO position, robs the fucking company, takes a golden parachute out, and ends up landing somewhere else as CEO and does it all fucking again.
Yep.
He's
Goes way upward. Yep.
Yeah, he's one of these
there's a
motherfuckers.
term for that, Brett. You know,
What's that?
called the Phil
Phil
Harrison.
Harrison. Yeah. No, I agree. The guy is not good for Sony. The health of Sony. You know.
I think that's an insult to Phil Harrison. At least he instigated some quality projects before he bounced from Xbox.
Yeah.
I
mean, his tenure at PlayStation is like, you know, at least from the PlayStation 1 to 2 era, he was still part of all of that too. So it wasn't until 3.
He tried. He tried. Yeah. I think he's cursed. I think Jim Ryan is a curse.
I don't know if he's cursed. I think he just came in like he came in, got in charge of things, and then immediately went, you know what we could do to make more money? Fuck our customers. And it makes them more money.
I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree.
Yeah, no,
I don't like the guy. So
yeah. No, you're not going to see any Jim Ryan fans here, people.
Maybe the Sony fans, maybe they'll have like a big Jim Ryan shirt. Like, yes, it's our guy.
Here's a guy right here, man. Jim Ryan for life.
Jim Ryan is almost single-handedly responsible for the downfall of Sony in my mind.
Damn.
Like, I used to respect you, and then Jim Ryan came along.
Yeah. See, Brett, and that's why I'm now going to start pushing back on whenever you say the old Sony. Sony was never like this, man. I want old Sony back, you know?
Dude, he's pushed it beyond... Like Sony showed dark tendencies before, and then some Sith Lord got a hold of him, and now they're fucking twisted Sony. Like, it's I don't know, man. It's Sony is digging their own grave, and I'm not fucking happy about it. They're just making, you know, money at the expense of legacy. And I think legacy is incredibly important in the video game world. There's very few people as loyal as and as mouthy and as vocal, but there are very few people as loyal as video game fanboys.
Yo, man, where's Damien at?
Yeah, where's Damien? Where you been at, Damien? You know,
This is a pawny show.
Pony
Yeah,
show.
right.
Listen
Well,
to
we've been talking. We've been bashing.
Yeah, we're the bashing
President of
Sony. You know, fucking crazy. Now this is what we're gonna do. All right, there we go. Damien's gonna come join us. I got my green back right now. You know, Damien, come back to Throwdown, man.
It's like the bat signal you're putting up there.
Yeah, right. Come on, Damien. It's green now, man. It's
No. I got the call. I got the Damien sign.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean Xbox, man. What's up? They don't have any good exclusives at launch.
You pony.
Now we're just gonna see. We're gonna see in the comments. That's all he's gonna talk about.
Yep, that's it.
Nothing but ponies here.
Oh man. All right. I don't think we need anything more about Jim Ryan. He's not fun. All right. Mob Hits, another question. All right. Could 2021 become one of the worst years in gaming history? He's referring to all the delays. Everything's in delayed now. Yeah, this year's not going to be good for gaming. I'll tell you that right now. Not going to be good for gaming.
I mean, like
Year of
Gran
false
Turismo's been
promises.
delayed.
What happened?
Uh,
Wait, you both of you guys talked at the same time. Brett, what'd you say?
This is the year of false promises.
Yeah. This is 2014 all over again. That's what it is. Only worse. Remember 2014? First full year of PlayStation 3 or 4? It was like, bro, ain't nothing to play, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I already knew that was coming, but now it's a little bit worse because everything's getting delayed. You know?
But is it? I mean, the thing about it is it a bad thing that these things are getting delayed?
Yes and no. Yes, because there's no games to play. No, because by next year or the year after, you're gonna have a lot of games to play. You know, and ultimately, it's good that if these games are getting delayed for the reason I think they're getting delayed because of the Cyberpunk thing. They're saying the Rona. It's probably a factor, but I think it's because of the Cyberpunk fiasco. That's a good thing because I think that was the final straw. When it comes to broken games, I think people are like, fuck this shit. We've had this nonsense for 10 years. We're done, you know? So that's a good thing, but we just have to tough it out for another year, you know?
I mean, it's a good thing in the sense that they're polishing games. It's a bad thing in the sense that they're just throwing bullshit release dates at us. Like, I'll be honest. I don't think the release dates they're throwing are actual projections of when they think the game is going to be done. I think at this point they're saying the games are going to be earlier than they are, and then they just delay them because it builds hype better.
I'm not going to go down that route. Some guys on Twitter were saying that I don't believe that shit. That's stupid.
Well, I'm not saying they're manipulating the people. I'm just saying they're preemptively calling games like, this game will be out in, like, I don't know, July. Like they're preemptively calling games because there's no reason not to.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but I see what you're saying.
I mean, I don't necessarily believe everybody saw Cyberpunk and then decided their games were subpar and going to get, torn apart by the internet. That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
I think that we don't have news for. I think it's awfully convenient that we don't have news for anything. Oh wait, we have news for a bunch of things, but it's all getting kicked. The can's getting kicked down the road. Because if they didn't and they actually just said, hey, all these games are coming out in 2023, everybody would have had a fucking hissy fit.
Yeah,
I definitely think that would be to be a thing too, if they actually really. But again, like I feel like a lot of times these dates are these time frames are made in advance before they really know what they're going to be doing. But the thing again, you have to have an endpoint when it comes to these sorts of things. There's so much that needs to happen. That involves marketing, that involves all kinds of other things that we don't actually see. So it's like, okay, now we're relaunching at this. We're going to be relaunching the final game at this point as opposed to that point. Okay, so that means we got to push back all this other stuff that is going to be happening at the same time. It's not that simple. Yeah. It sounds like simple. Hey, just delay a game.
People don't understand how games work, man. It's not like movies where you could set a definitive date. It doesn't work like that. Game development, Manny, you've told us about this many times. Where if you see how games are made, you know how many like false starts there are before they actually really start making the game.
Exactly. It's this point. Like if games could be sort of put together like so solidly like the way a film would be. Yes, you could probably hit certain dates and stuff like that. That would work out real well, or you have a fixer come in, but it's not that simple. Again, like the game, a lot of times there's no scripts that are being made for a game. It's just people in the office saying, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if this level was the fire level?" And then they write a plot to stick the fire level in there.
Yeah, but you should be like, and I hate to make this anecdotal, but okay, so when I'm doing a tattoo, right, and people ask me how long it's going to be, I quote them a time frame. Sometimes I'm earlier, sometimes I'm later, right? If I'm consistently late on every tattoo I do, and I'm telling the person in the lobby who's next, it's just gonna be 20 more minutes. It's gonna be 20 more minutes. It's just gonna be 20 more minutes for an hour and a half, right? I just keep kicking it down a little bit, and I keep doing that. That's my fault. Right, that's not just how the things are done. And yes, there are components in there like a tattoo is done when a tattoo is done. There's no rushing it. You want it to be perfect, and sometimes it takes a little longer. I absolutely understand that. But if you're quoting the wrong time frame over and over and over again, it's not because you're trying to do the perfect tattoo. It's because you're quoting people's short time frames so they don't leave the lobby. You know what you're doing. And I think this is the exact same thing. Like, if it were one thing, sure, it's the whole fucking catalog. Like, is it really that Sony just been like, oh, well, it just so happens that all of our games are going to be coming out later than expected, and that's just convenient because
To be fair,
otherwise
Sony's not the only one delaying games. Every company's delaying every game now. It's not just Sony. You know.
Yeah, well, I
remember
mean,
Halo Infinite was supposed to come out with Xbox. Look what happened. You know.
No, Halo Infinite was definitely a Cyberpunk situation. Put that shit back in the oven. It was not done.
Yeah, but by the way, Brett, I see what you're saying, but they're not analogous, man. Like one guy doing one tattoo is different than 800 people working on a single game. That's a very different.
I know. But the one person who's working on that game, whose real job it is to quote how long they think it's going to take. Like you delay it once, sure. You delay it again, okay, sure. You delay it 3 or 4 times, okay. You just fucking suck at quoting timelines.
Or they're having problems with development, you know? Game development is not a straightforward process, man. It is not like a single thing like a movie. It could change on a whim, you know? So it's not, you can't really say that, you know?
But I think you got to look at the motivation too. Like right now, there's no incentive not to fill a dead period where you don't have product on a platform you just released. And I'm looking at both his systems here. It's not. There's no motive not to be like, oh yeah, well we got something that's coming out soon. Like it's just so convenient that it's. I believe it's happening somewhere. I have trouble believing that everybody, when there's a brand new platform and no fucking games, right? And if anybody had this acceptable game to kind of put out there, they would, because it would take fucking spotlight and center stage. It's an instant, immediate, guaranteed hit because there's literally nothing else to play.
Dude, I guarantee you, if Sony could, or any of these companies could, those games would have come out when they said they would. They're not just like, fuck it, change the release date just cause. Like if they could control things, those games would be out, but they can't because again, game development is not. Yeah, it's not straightforward.
I don't think they ever thought that it was going to be ready by this time.
Okay, see, I know what you're saying.
They just suck at quoting timelines. They're a different thing.
All right, I'm not going to go down that timeline. I'm not going to go down that route. You know.
I agree with the tinfoil internet hats.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not. I think that's all ludicrous. All right, we still got more questions. Let's move on. Okay, this one I just threw in right now because it's kind of related here. Chip Dipped 18. I like that name, Chip Dip. You know,
Chip Dip, hey?
Makes me hungry. Chip Dip. His question is, do we even have any real indication that Starfield is coming out this year? Like any at all? I feel like it's all speculation. Yeah, we don't have a clue when this game's coming.
See, this is exactly what I was just talking about. It could be nowhere near ready, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's coming soon.
No, but Bethesda never said that. This is just fanboys saying it's coming out this year. This is different than Sony and all these other companies saying, here's the release date and they change it. Bethesda has never said when it's coming out. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but they've never said anything.
No, but Bethesda usually drops the game fairly shortly after release.
You know, so it's all fans, right? This one is just driven by the fans. They just assume it's coming this year.
Well, they did it to themselves. How they announced Fallout? What was out in 4 months?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Fallout 4 was a outlier. Bethesda usually just gives you a fucking logo and it's like, here you go, game's coming out when it's coming out. Have fun, you know.
They usually don't like they.
Elder Scrolls 6 that's high.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but like they usually get the games out when they do the full announcement. It's usually less than a year before the game comes out.
What do you define as a full announcement?
When they give you something other than like when they show you gameplay, you know, when the real trailer comes out, not the fucking.
Have we gotten Starfield gameplay?
We haven't.
No, we haven't even gotten the full game announcement. We've gotten like the hints and the little bits here and there, but they haven't come out and been like, this is Starfield. Like we haven't been formally introduced. So, but I do feel like Bethesda, after they quote unquote formally introduce you to a game, it's usually fairly short before it's out.
Yeah. Okay. So, I see what you're saying.
Again, they haven't even done that.
They haven't done that. This right here is purely driven by the
Starfield-
fanboys.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Here's where the reach happens.
Yeah.
Right. People then think like, oh, they'll say something about it this year, which by proxy means that it will probably come out sometime this year. That's a lot of assumption right there. But that's the
Yeah.
math you use to get to that point. I don't agree. I'm just telling you how the math
Yeah.
worked.
No, listen. Unless Bethesda tells you otherwise, that game ain't coming this year. That's it.
Mhm.
You know.
I don't know. I believe that, personally, that it's probably coming around holiday. 'Cause
Maybe.
they're
I
gonna
hope.
try-
Hey, I hope you're right. So people have a new game to play.
They're going to drop something, right? Like, that is the first thing coming out of their pipeline. We know this
By the
for a
way,
fact. We've been
we
told
don't
this.
we don't need Adam, man, and we already got it. 1 hour, 32 minutes, and
Yeah.
9 seconds.
Gotta have something.
um,
You know. Hey, think about it. I said I was the only. I asked by the only one before Brett asked it. So we could take each other's quotes sometimes, man. We're
Yeah,
free.
there you go. There you go.
Someone
But,
said,
okay, so
right,
we know that's the next thing coming out of the Bethesda pipeline. They've told us as much. And you ask yourself, like, okay, well, theoretically, is it coming out this holiday or next holiday? Because it's such a big game, it's going to be pushed to a holiday season most likely. So is it going to be this holiday or is it going to be next holiday? Well, I've seen a little bit too much rumbling and it feels like Bethesda is building the hype. So I don't think they're going to try and subtly build that hype and that anticipation, for a summer announcement next year. That just doesn't feel like what's going on.
or
I
announce the sequel to your most popular franchise, and 2 years later they still haven't said shit.
What are you talking about?
Elder Scrolls 6. They announced the game and we haven't heard a single lick of it in it's 3 years now.
I think a lot of people don't count as that as an announcement. That was just kind of a teaser.
Right. This is exactly. That's what the industry likes to call a cock tease. They announce all of these things because they have nothing else to show. So Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6, Sony does fucking Last Guardian and all that stuff. All of these companies do it, and then these games are nowhere near ready or playable or showable or anything.
Do we care about the cock tease? I mean, there's two clearly different game announcements. There's the cock tease, and the one where they actually show you the game.
No, but you're saying you're expecting it to be in this holiday season, and I'm like, man, they announced this game.
They've already given us the cock tease. They've already given us the cock tease on Starfield twice.
Yeah,
So-
but I mean, it's who knows how many we're gonna get?
Again, this is based on wild assumption and personal experience. Bethesda don't roll like that. They don't drop 9 fucking cock tease trailers. It's one of the things I like about the company. And maybe that's changed. Oof. That's, now that I've said it out loud, it probably will change just to embarrass me. But yeah, historically they haven't done a lot of that shit. They announced it once. They gave you a little teaser like, oh, this is the thing that we're working on. It's the first thing that's going out. And they showed you a really quick teaser sizzle reel, right? Which means that I think that they're building hype to announce the game.
Hey, man,
And when
I'll just say historically they weren't owned by Microsoft.
and that's the difference right there. I was thinking the same thing, Chris. I was like, I need to see how this is changing. I've heard that they're going to leave the studio pretty much alone, but
Yeah,
I
Activision
don't
said the
believe
same
that
thing about
for a fucking
Blizzard.
second.
Yeah, Activision
Yeah.
said the same thing about Blizzard. So
yeah, I mean, we both are equal distance from right. We've had absolutely nothing to show one way or the other. So, but I understand where the people are coming from, and my personal opinion is I've heard enough rumblings that I think they're getting ready to actually announce the game. And I think if they actually announce the game, they're going to release it in holiday season. So my bet, if I put money down, if anyone wants to take this bet, I'll take it. They'll announce it. They'll announce it this probably this summer, and it'll be holiday release.
all right, Brett's putting his flag down.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that, Brett.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I hope you're right. I mean, I want to play Starfield. It seems like
If you win, I'll buy you a game. If I win, you buy me Starfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Another
like a
throw
bet.
down, Brett. Another throwdown bet. Another throwdown Brett.
There's only one. That's like baby.
Throw down Brett. I'm going to say this though. I think Starfield will be available during a holiday season.
Well, yeah, not this one.
No, you missed a joke. It'll be available during a holiday season.
Yeah, that's it. And then it comes out in March.
Yeah, exactly, because it still be available in the holiday season afterwards.
It's Valentine's Day season.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, right.
Now, when do y'all think it's gonna come out?
It'll be out after Labor Day. You know.
No, when do y'all think it's gonna come out? Knowing that it's the next big title coming out from them.
In all honesty, I think probably 2023. Probably. I think the game is way far out. Way far out. I don't believe it's coming out anytime soon.
I feel like 2023 is Elder Scrolls, man.
I think Elder Scrolls is probably 2025, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's
dropping at the end of the generation. You know.
Yeah, there's going to be a generation quota for Elder Scrolls this generation. I don't know. Oh,
Whoa!
I see Starfield, then Elder Scrolls in 2023, and then Fallout in 2025.
Damn, that's some ambitious, Wow.
Because
it's like what three titles in like 5 years.
Yeah, I don't think that. I hope you're right, Brett, but I don't know.
First of all, Fallout and Elder Scrolls have always shared the same engine, so it's about asset creation. They've usually released them 2-3 years apart, right? And like that's a decent 10-year plan. We know these 3 games are coming out. Are we saying that they're working on all 3 games? They're gonna look. Not every game takes as long as fucking Cyberpunk did, right? Like we used to live in a 4 to 5 year development period, and that means if they just started Fallout today, it would be ready in 2025. You're telling me they haven't even broken ground on the next Fallout?
I mean, they got to finish Deathloop.
No, Deathloop.
Yeah, I know it's not. But I mean, your test case of 2 years apart between Fallout and Elder Scrolls kind of doesn't make sense because it's like 1 and 1. It's one yes and 1 no, because I mean they've only started with Fallout 3, and that was what 2 years before Skyrim, and then Fallout 4, like I'm talking mainland Fallouts, there wasn't any Elder Scrolls in between.
I guess they do. They have been almost 4 years apart at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, so it's one of them. Yeah, like it was like just 2 years apart, but the other one was like we're still counting those years.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll go with this. They're still going to try and release an Elder Scrolls at the beginning of the generation and a Fallout towards the middle of the generation.
Man, I hope so.
Dude, I hope so too. I hope we're not waiting 7 years to see some fucking results.
Skyrim.
In all honesty, I don't think we're gonna see a Fallout this generation. I think Starfield. I think Starfield and Elder Scrolls will be it. I think those are the amount of games they can handle.
Said they were working on it.
Did they? I haven't seen that. They
already said that would be the order that they came out in.
If somebody could verify what Brett said, please let me know because I'm willing to say I'm wrong, but I haven't heard any of that.
Well, that still doesn't verify what I said to timeline. That's what makes me make those predictions. Is they've said like, yes, we're working on. I think it was a question about Fallout. And they said yes, we're working on Fallout, but you're going to see the next, our new game. And I think don't know if they even named it at that point. I think they maybe said untitled game, and then Elder Scrolls before that.
All right,
so that's what makes me guess that.
Yeah. Okay. If you're basing it off of that, that's fair. That makes sense. Why you would say that. I just haven't seen it myself. But we'll see. We'll see. We got a bet going. We got a Brett going. So we shall see. All right.
Look forward to playing Starfield at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if I win, you owe me 2 games.
Oh shit.
What? You can't do that.
You owe me from the Skyrim bet. I'm good with Bethesda bets.
You need to fucking remind me and claim that shit, man.
You said Skyrim was going to be on the top 10 NPDs when it came out for the Switch.
No, you did. I was wrong. I'll admit it. I totally forgot about it, man.
He's a very forgetful fella.
Yeah, I'm a little spacey, man.
But if you're right, that the Brexit gets canceled. It's a Brexit.
Brexit. Oh man.
I will take that on wordplay alone.
Yes, there you go. All right, man. Let us move on to the next question. This one is from Christina, and she asked, "What are the odds of The Last of Us multiplayer factions coming out at the same time as Halo Infinite?" That would be funny because think about it like this, right? Sony doesn't have any multiplayer games of its own, so wouldn't it be funny if the fucking multiplayer for that game comes out at the same time as Infinite, like kind of as an answer? Because these guys are on Twitter all the time. Where's factions? Where's factions? Where's factions? You know, so
I mean, you don't think they time it that way on purpose?
no. You think what do you think? What are the odds of that? Since we're taking bets tonight,
High. They're high.
Hold on. Okay, so Brett, just on the record, so you honestly believe there's a good chance that we'll see Last of Us multiplayer when Halo comes out?
I mean, I would assume if the development timelines allow, yes, that's exactly the type of thing corporations do.
Yeah.
That's
And
why
I
movies
agree with
come out
you.
like, oh, here's a movie about a witch and another movie about a witch. Ooh, I wonder how that happened.
And
Like, yeah.
And Brett,
It's Xbox versus Sony.
yeah, and to add more fuel to what you just said, right? Sony has a history of trolling Microsoft. So I can see that. I can see that happening. You know, it'll be a perfect time, right? Also, you know, get the fucking PS5 edition so I can actually get my platinum because I'm not trying to go back to that game as it is.
Dude, it'd just be good marketing. I mean, think about it this way. Like, just realistically, okay, Halo's going to come out. Man, that's going to cause a ruckus on the internet. Everybody's going to be talking about that. What kind of fan base do we have that's more rabid than a Halo fan base that we could release onto the message boards to try and even out the news cycle?
The Super Smash Brothers fan base.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
shit.
the one.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. Even though, I don't know, man. I'm going to say something potentially controversial. I don't think Halo Infinite's going to ignite the Halo franchise like people think it's going to. I think that franchise is past its heyday, man.
It'll be a solid game.
Yeah,
I think for the Xbox guys, I think it'll be good for the Xbox guys, but it won't even be competition.
I don't think-
you know.
Dude, you can't go back to the early days of Halo. Like I can't think of a game that single-handedly changed the landscape more than fucking Halo did. I mean, eventually somebody would have figured out that control scheme, but the first time you picked up the Halo control, especially like after playing Goldeneye and shit, you're like, oh my god. You learned you didn't even have to have somebody show you like, oh, this is how this works. You're like, oh my god, I can look all around and double sticks. Oh my god, it's fucking crazy. And I had played games on the Xbox before. Not everybody had really figured out a good button mapping. So it was almost just down to button mapping. It felt intuitive. It was awesome, and it kind of revolutionized things. And literally every shooter that we play these days is configured almost the exact same way as the OG Halo. So you're not going to replicate that, man. It's fucking impossible.
Yeah, you're right about that. So, like, instantly that multiplayer for Last of Us would just be better received, you know?
I don't know, man. You're at that point, you're just igniting a fanboy war. Halo fanboys versus Last of Us. And those are all the biggest crybabies on the internet thrown into a pit. So, and then, you know, everybody's going to fucking go and do a news story on it. And everybody's going to benefit. So we're all going to keep up this petulant behavior.
Here's the thing. I mean, I know people are complaining, you know, getting all hot about the Last of Us multiplayer, but I don't really. Did anybody really play that thing?
Yeah, apparently a lot of people did.
Yeah, man. I don't get it either, but
Yeah, Manny, don't get me wrong. I was not impressed by that thing, but a lot of people liked it.
It seemed like a second thought, a multiplayer, like a cheesy tack on.
Yeah,
it was. They admitted it. But dude, Last of Us fans are hardcore.
Not only that. Uncharted multiplayer, it was popular too.
I know that one was sort of popular, but because it sort of offered something a bit different than you would, you know, had a bit of a platforming thing to it. It was, you know, I feel like that one is a better example of a you know, a multiplayer game than the Last of Us one. But then again, who knows? Maybe it's not. I'm not into that stuff, but I don't know. I would be more inclined to play an Uncharted multiplayer because it seems to lend itself to that, rather than that janky ass Last of Us controls that at least the last game the original game had. I mean, granted, you guys said that they fixed the controls in the new one.
Yeah, they did. It's a lot smoother. The guys in the chat disagree. They're like, "Oh, the multiplayer was great." I was not a fan, but
it just seemed like a second thought to me. Like, what you? I don't know. whatever.
But then again, Manny, you and I are not multiplayer guys, so we probably, you know.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not a multiplayer guy. So I mean, I'm judging it based on the factor. It just looks like, hey, you know, I can
Hell, I
shoot-
thought the Uncharted multiplayers were tacked on too. You know.
Oh, the Uncharted, I hated those too. I didn't
Yeah.
think they were very well, but I feel like those seem to lend themselves a bit better. But
Yeah.
you know, to goofy multiplayer mode. But you know, I to be honest, as far as real multiplayers go, I would say the Halo one would be the one.
Yeah, because that's like OG multiplayer right there, you know. Hey, listen, here's the thing, right? People, you know, I haven't played, so I can't judge its value. I think Carlos is the only one here. People hated Halo 5, but they loved the multiplayer of it. So we may see something like that with Halo Infinite. They may not like the story, but they're gonna like the gameplay, you know, or the multiplayer, you know. So who knows? But I think the multiplayer for Last of Us, that's an instant win. Because again, I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about everybody I see. A lot of people are really hyped for it. So I think it would be smart for Sony to do that. Release it alongside Halo. Yeah, you actually have an answer to it. Because Sony doesn't have any. Sorry, All Stars ain't cutting it. You know, there was 11 dudes that are watching it on Twitch right now. That's not enough to make a fan base out of. You know.
Yeah, that game launched,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and it bombed. Nobody.
I mean,
it was free, and no one cared.
Yeah, so it launched, and then I mean, the game has launched, right?
Yes, it came out weeks ago.
Oh shoot! Okay.
It came out at the beginning of the month.
For free.
It's launched.
No,
on
I'm not
PSN
talking about the
Plus
free
for
version.
free.
Not talking about that.
Oh
I'm
no,
talking about the
that's next month.
actual launch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
next month. That's next month.
Yeah, is there the crazy thing is there enough interest on? I don't think there's enough
There's
interest.
11
to warrant-
guys. Brian, you're the man at this. How many people are actually playing this game right now, man? Or watching this
check.
game? Yeah, you should go check. Because last time we checked live, it was 11 people. 11. 11.
Yeah,
What did you
I-
Tony?
I-
1100? 1100? No. 11, bro.
I definitely think that. I also I definitely think that even they tried to pull the same thing they've been pulling, or they'll throw it onto PlayStation Plus, but it looked like nobody even cared, even if it was on PlayStation Plus.
Oh, Brian, damn. I gotta hear this. What is it now?
Oh, gosh, it's 5 viewers.
Oh,
Wow. So just to get this straight, Throwdown right now has more viewers than this fucking Sony first party game. Wow.
Mhm.
There we go.
And they want to charge $70 for this on launch.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
See,
Yeah, go ahead.
okay.
Brian.
The one thing that really irks me the most about this isn't that, oh, I'm ragging on the game, blah, blah, blah. No, it's the fact that Sony are going to see this and say to themselves, like, hey, multiplayer games don't do well, so we're not going to do it anymore.
Shit. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's actually the thing that annoys me the absolute most, because then it's
Jim
like,
Ryan.
no, it's not that you did a multiplayer game and it didn't do well, it's that you did a bad multiplayer game and it didn't do well. If you do a good one, then you'll get the numbers like Mag. Like, okay, it was not the greatest game, but it was a good enough game and it had the fan base and it did well. So seeing this,
Brian, I
go
gotta
down,
cut you off,
it's-
man. I gotta
Sorry?
cut you off.
No,
You should-
but now I'm going to cut you off, Carlos.
Whoa!
Brian,
Whoa.
you just fucked me up right now, man. Check this out, right? What if this game, All Stars, because of how bad it did, Jim Ryan will go to Sony Center, Naughty Dog, be like, "Hey, multiplayer's not doing well. Don't even bother doing that shit for Last of Us." Oh shit!
I never thought of that.
You
That would
know,
be a godsend. So Brian, you didn't mention the best example of this, SOCOM.
Oh, SOCOM's dead already. I'm sorry. I'm very sad. At
Brian
that.
already mourned. He moved on, bruh. That's it. He doesn't want that wound reopened,
it's just
man.
painful.
Or if Rico was
memories.
here, he'd be like Warhawk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't want it to not do good. I want it to do good because, again, it means that Sony are like, hey, there's an interest in this, so let's make sure that we support it. But it's not doing well, and now it's like Sony are now less likely to invest in these type of games in the future. So hence, chances are your Warhawk sequel, revival, SOCOM, all that stuff, it's less likely now, and makes me sad.
Yeah, man. All right, let's move on to the next question. I believe I have it ready here. If I don't, we could vamp. Yeah, we do have it ready. By the way, there's another question from Mr. Roman Ronan. Roman Ronan, you know we love you, right? You've been one of our staunchest fans for a long, long time. But my man, you don't drop a question like this literally 15 minutes before we're getting ready. This is we needed proper research for this. Chris, I don't know if you were able to pull it off. You know what I'm talking about. Because this question, great, fantastic question. Love the question, but you needed to ask us this earlier in the day because it's like, yo, whoa, we need to get our facts here because this is not an opinion based thing. We need to get our shit right here. So let's get into it. So his question is, considering EA has bought studios, Microsoft bought Bethesda into the fold, Square and Enix merge, what would you say was the first major move to consolidate different gaming companies under one name? So yeah, again, we don't want to do speculation. I wanted facts. So Chris, what's up? What was the first instance of this happening in the gaming industry?
The first instance of a major acquisition in monetary comparison and date, so I was looking through this, was actually EA bought Origin back in 1992 for about $35 million. Yeah, and
Actually, I remember
Origin, yeah, I mean, that was the Ultimate games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Origin system. So, I mean, that's the first major one. The next major one is actually them again. Even bigger move. They bought Maxis in 1997 for $125 million.
Wow.
And then the next year, 98, they bought Westwood Studios. Westwood Studios made Command and Conquer, the Dune.
I remember that.
Games.
Yeah.
They're
The
RTS
Blade
games. Yep.
Runner game.
Yeah. So I mean, and in 2 years they spent, $250 million to acquire two major studios. So they got all the sim games, and then they got all the RTS games from Westwood.
Wow, it's crazy, guy. Those last two mergers, Chris. I remember those being in the news too, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Origin.
So that
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it was just EA was just swallowing the earth in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So that's the major ones I could see in terms of like major and then early. You said the earliest.
Yeah, the earliest.
Move.
You
EA was making the
question.
earliest
Yeah.
move.
You answered the question. There you go. But that's a good one. Now people know their history. When you were answering that question, I just imagine. I don't know why my brain just went to this. I just imagine like a giant human head, like kind of like the end of Evangelion. Right? You remember that big giant head, but the mouth,
Yeah.
the mouth was open and everything's just falling in. Like the big head is EA and everything's just, you know.
Ridiculous, man.
Crazy. You crazy, man. All right. Next up, another question here from Mr. Black Metal Gamer. This one's an interesting question. What developers have good B teams and what good games have they made? I don't know I don't know of every B team on every developer, so this might be a tricky one.
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, because they don't usually say.
Yeah.
They don't usually talk about the B team. They just say it's so and so. The only instance where I've ever heard about any sort of talk of a B team or an alternate team was with Bioware, where essentially they had where they essentially settled their one team with something that they don't usually do.
Yeah, no, you're right about that because that's what makes this question. I wish you would have provided examples. I'm like, studios don't usually discuss who their B teams are, you know.
Yeah, like there's the different branches of Rockstar.
Yeah.
There's Rockstar North, and then but they don't. A lot of times they don't actually say which part of the team did it.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Well, they do, but they're not B teams. Like they're just specific to certain things. Like Rockstar San Diego is specific to Red Dead. Rockstar North is in Scotland, and they're GTA. Like they're focused on specific franchises. And you'll see it though when the Rockstar logo comes up usually in games. The next logo will be either North or San Diego, whoever worked on the game. But that's not B teams. Like Bioware had B teams, and we see the result, right? But I don't know about other studios' B teams, so
Yeah,
I don't really know what to say.
anybody else? Because again, this is a tough one. Because again, most studios don't really disclose that. I don't think any of us can answer this, to be honest. So, good question. I like the question, but can't really answer that You know. All right. Moving on here. By the way, we're going to skip 2 of these. Black Metal Gamer, he's asking us how, out of all the recent remasters, how would you have made it better? But you've asked us that before, so that don't count. And we kind of recently answered that question, a similar one from somebody else. And then we got a question here from Black Mage. He's asking us, what do we think are going to be the next big gaming innovations? We talked about that very recently, actually, about 2 weeks back or so. So we'll skip that and we'll move on to his other question. He goes, this from Black Mage. Should developers just adopt it? I wish Adam was here for this one. Should developers just adopt a subscription style service for upcoming sports titles? I understand the marketing behind yearly releases, but this genre has been the least innovative over the years besides roster updates, gameplay tweaks, and graphical overhauls. Carlos, why don't you jump in, man? You're the next other sports guy here. You play FIFA, so what do you think about this? Should
I've been playing Bud all day.
You know what? I'll be Adam.
I
got mad. You know, they fucking up. So by the way, my opinion on this is like, yes, it should be like just updated with rosters and just because they never even change the engines. You know, come on.
Yeah, it takes fucking decades for them to like innovate on shit.
Yeah,
and it sucks, man, because I used to be heavy on those games and I used to buy them every fucking year, and yeah, the only reason I was buying them every freaking year is because of the roster updates. So there's really no point. I mean, if you want to keep more people into the ecosystem, just have them on a subscription service and have them paying it. It's even better because it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people forget to fucking cancel this shit. So
you know, Manny the rope dope.
It's the rope dope.
Oh yep.
And
yeah, they get you in their system, and then you know you just keep playing it. And
yeah,
you don't even realize
I've been subscribed to fucking Luna this entire time. I forgot to cancel the shit.
Oh,
they got me, bro. No, you're right about that. But yeah, I've been saying this forever. I'm like, why are these games coming out new? Like, just, ever since they had patches, I'm like, just patch the fucking new roster. You're good to go. But you know why they don't do it, Carlos? Because people buy them games every
people buy them every year.
That's the problem. People buy them.
Yeah, so it's pretty much guaranteed money at this point, but I don't know. I honestly don't know the I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. So they're just going to keep doing the same thing unless there is competition. And for a lot of these things, there really isn't. You know, PES tried to compete with FIFA. It couldn't. 2K competed with fucking Madden, but then fucking, you know, EA bought the fucking license for the NFL. So they have a monopoly on that. And 2K used to do it right because what they did is every year they would release a new game, but it would be at a cheaper price. I think it'd be half off because it's just pretty much roster updates. So I think, I mean, it would be something that would entice me to pay a monthly fee and maybe keep playing these types of games. But the way they are right now, you know, you can even look at my achievements. I played like fucking like 10 Maddens and all the FIFAs and, you know, even the NCAA fucking football ones. But yeah, after I grew some fucking common sense, I'm like, yeah, I was like Thomas Paine on this bitch. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah. All right. None of us other guys play sports games, so we'll move on to the. It makes sense. We've been saying that, Manny, for years. Like, we just do that, you know?
Yeah. Why not do that? But again, like, you know, the regular person who usually buys these, I wouldn't say officially are exactly always gamers, but the easiest way to continuously get people to do this is just to keep putting out new ones because they just say, hey, it's the new one, not doing maybe any sort of research in it or anything like that. And I feel like when you don't have something actually sitting there for people to look at or something specific there, I think it becomes more difficult to explain. It's like, hey, if you buy this, you'll keep getting new. Like, I feel like they're much rather just have people just shelling out $60 or $70 for the new title rather than going through the process of having them subscribe to some sort of thing.
Also, not to mention that I'm pretty sure these, at least for EA's sake, they make most of their fucking money with microtransactions and fucking Ultimate Team stuff.
Yeah, they got everybody hooked onto that shit with Foot and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I was boosting and they got shadow banned. And man, what a day! What a day!
Oh man.
Funny thing is that like that type of game, like it actually lends itself really quite well to the live service model as well. So it makes it even worse. It's like, hey, this is a game where having a live service actually makes sense. Like you update the game with new characters, new rosters. When the transfer window's closed, you can swap out the guys in the teams like in real time. So like as the transfers happen, boom, they happen in the game. There's like new seasons, new teams, have new outfits. So it makes sense, you know? It genuinely makes sense. But as you guys said, like they're not going to because money. They want all the money.
Yeah, they have a core fan base that will buy in every year regardless of what the hell they do. All that needs to happen is for that fan base to just dwindle a little bit, and then they'll cave.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the final question of the night. This one is from Logic Wins again, who's been with us all night, man. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate that. This one's fun. Simple. What are your favorite gaming podcasts besides Throwdown?
I don't think I listen to another gaming podcast. Not anymore. I mean, I used to listen to. I don't even know if they're podcasts. Like just people, like game trailers. They used to have like shows where they talk, but I don't even know if that was like podcast. I haven't listened. Gamertag Radio I used to listen to for a bit, but I just dropped off. I think that's it. Oh, Beyond the one when Colin Moriarty. And fucking Greg Miller used to be on it. That's an inside joke, by the way.
Yeah, that's an hardcore inside joke.
But yeah, like when they used to be on it, I used to listen to that too. But not anything recently.
See, Barry Burton has the right answer. There are other gaming podcasts. My bad. Yeah, here's the thing. Ever since because I used to listen to a bunch of gaming podcasts back in the day, right? My favorite ones were the ones that inspired this show, actually, the Warzone and the Shotcast, but after that, I just
The Minority Show.
Yeah, the Minority Show was fantastic. That was another one. The structure of Throwdown, I was very influenced by that one. But after I started doing this, it's like I do a gaming podcast twice a week. I'm good. I don't need to listen to because they were all saying the same things we talk about all the time. But these days I say I dabble in some, but I don't really go too hard. Like obviously I check out Gamertag Radio, Danny and Paris. I like their things. Even though it's funny about that. Me, Paris, and Danny kind of do our private Gamertag radios every day, like while we're talking on the phone and stuff. But I listen to that sometimes, right? And believe it or not, it's funny you mentioned Colin Moriarty because I started checking out his podcast. It's called Sacred Symbols. It's actually really good. It's him and Chris Raygun. And I just I had it on in the background when I was arming the my desk and shit. Right? I was like, hey, this is actually pretty good. And I like the fact, and I'm going to try to watch my words here. They don't approach games the way every other podcast approaches games. Like they have the way we do. You know what I'm saying? They don't tiptoe around things. And I appreciate that in a gaming podcast.
Do they throw down?
Sometimes they do. Actually, no, him and Ray, Chris, they get along. They don't throw it out like we do. But like I said, I just listen to that maybe sometimes. But in general, just being truthful, I don't listen to a lot of gaming things. You know what I'm saying? I watch gaming news, obviously, for work and for the show. But if I'm on YouTube, I'm watching videos on writing or some book series or or astrophysics or something like that. I'm not really watching video game content. If I do watch video game content though, it's always like retrospectives or what Digital Foundry does. Obviously, that type of shit I like. But like, hey, check out a review from it. I don't care about other people's reviews, to be honest. I purposely stay away from other people's reviews so they don't taint mine. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time, these guys just have just the most insipid fucking views, that I find just boring, So I don't really dabble in gaming content too much, like on my own time. I'd rather, do something else. All right. What about you other guys? Do you have any other gaming podcasts you would listen to?
The only other one that I'd listen to not pretty regularly is the Camouflage podcast, which is the one that was run by Ryan Payton and who formerly did the Kojima Productions report. So I listen to his thing because I feel like he does a really good job of sort of giving you an inside idea of what game development is like. Recent stuff he's sort of talking about, working on the Iron Man game and stuff like that. So I like, that's the only one that I listen to, but I don't like to listen to. It's interesting. I don't care to listen to any other video game opinion podcast, kind of like our show. So I don't actually listen to like stuff like, like a gamer tag or Spawn on Me or anything like that, but that's about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think we're all the same in that. So we don't really dabble in other gaming podcasts like that. We're not knocking other podcasts, obviously. It's just since we do this ourselves, kind of hard to listen to other people,
I like hearing.
But here's the thing: I like listening to podcasts. I just don't like listening to gaming podcasts very often. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can recommend
6 hours of gaming podcast every week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying. Yeah, like if I'm playing a game, I'm not trying to listen to a gaming podcast. I'm listening to something else.
Yeah, I like listening to the industry stuff. Like I want to hear what those guys think about their work and how they do things. I like those sort of behind the scenes sort of podcasts.
Not a lot of those, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. There's not a lot of them talking about the actual process of making games. That's sort of why I liked Ryan Payton's stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also
cool. Go ahead.
And it's also like even like it's kind of hard for us to listen to gaming podcasts because not only do we record twice a week, we do like pre and post show. We usually talk about video games.
Yeah.
Every single day we talk about video games in our group chats, and our Twitter feed is filled with video game talk. Yeah. So we interact with our friends like that with video games on Twitter and stuff like that. So it's like to add even more content to just video game podcasts. It kind of maybe saturates it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's too much to make it.
It's too make it.
Man. Yeah, but for you guys who don't know, that's what's it? It's that New Zealand language. I don't want to fuck it up by not.
Is it the Aboriginal?
Language? The native New Zealand language. I'm trying to be respectful to it, but to make it means too much, which is a good thing. It's like it's too much, So too much, and when I say it, it's kind of bad, but it actually means a good thing, Maori. Thank you for saying it, Maori. There you go. Shout out to the Maori, man. Real fucking men right there, All right, so I was gonna. What about you guys? They said something in the chat here. Gamertag Radio, Xcast, Defining Duke. Defining Duke is Colin's because it's called what's the name of it now? It's not called Colin's Last Stand anymore. It's something else. But okay, so Sacred Symbols is the PlayStation podcast, and Defining Duke is the Xbox podcast. So he listens to that. P.S. I Love You. That's IGN.
Right? That's the Kind of Funny.
Oh, Kind of Funny. Okay. That's Miller's one. Xcast. That's also Miller's
Kinda
one.
Funny, yeah.
Shout out to Paris. He's on that. Breakfast with Boom. I don't know that one. I'm not familiar with that one.
Never heard of that one.
Logic when said he used to love IGN's Knockin' Boots podcast about relationships, but political correctness killed it. Yeah, I could totally see that. Ivan asked me if I was on the Gaming Assembly podcast. Yeah, that lasted for like 5 episodes. It was me, Broken Games AG, and a bunch of other big like podcasters. Even Mr. Megadeth was on there. Mike from the original something podcast, like a bunch of it was basically like a all-star gaming podcast, but because we all have our different projects, it didn't last very long. But I got a lot of fans from us off of that. Logic Win says Iron Lords podcast. Here's like, I'll fully admit it. I've never listened to Iron Lords podcast, but I know every single one of those guys. They're on Twitter. They're fucking awesome dudes. I love all those guys. I even met a bunch of them on Twitter. I haven't listened to their show yet. I have seen clips and they're fucking hilarious, to be honest. There's this one dude who looks like a pimp, you know, like a king pimp. Like, yo, and I like this shit, you know. And of course, oh my God, I almost forgot. You know, even though they don't do podcasts as much anymore, Co-op, man, Co-op. Mm-hmm. You know, when I heard them do the Cyberpunk podcast, I was like, yo, this is good, man. You got to bring it back. I started yelling at Gary and Richard, bring that shit back, man. So hopefully, but they said they're not going to bring it back full time. It's just going to be whenever they feel passionate about it. So I think that's a good way of doing it. You know, it's kind of the way we do topics on Throwdown, because I know sometimes I go on Twitter and people ask like, hey, and I ask, hey, what do you guys want us to talk about? Like, talk about this release date, talk about that announcement. Like, that's not something we care about, man. You know, like all the topics I pick here, I want to make sure we could get a good discussion out of them beyond just what it says on the surface, you know. And a lot of times I'll even pick topics I personally don't care about, but I know you guys will like. So I'm like, go off, do your thing. Because if it's not passionate, because we used to do that. We used to have like 20 topics, and we spent like 3 seconds on one. And it's like, that's stupid, you know. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Let me see here.
But
go ahead.
We got to get we do, like, and you mentioned it before, but we do got to give an extra huge shout out to Warzone.
Oh yeah, that's the OG.
That's the podcast that brought us together, essentially.
Not only,
you know,
not
a
only
lot of
that,
us.
yeah. If it wasn't for the Warzone and SCFU and Play, Torrance Davis, a lot of us would not, be doing this podcast right now. And I'm going to say this right now: a lot of gaming podcasts that currently exist, they're ripping off the Warzone straight up, and not paying any respects to them, So it's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So
and also got to give a huge shout out to Welcome to the Fan Zone.
That's the Fan Zone with Dragon and Damien. That was your first taste of a podcast, wasn't it, Carlos?
I think so.
I remember I used to listen to a little bit of that. I was like, Carlos is the only sane person on here. Everybody was out of their minds. Jagon, Kuel, Damien, they're
Wolfhawk.
Yeah, the lunatics. All of them. It's crazy.
Daniel he's an AMD fanboy.
Oh God.
So he would always go hard for them.
Yeah. And
Jagon was just crazy.
Yo, and I want to give a shout out to Otanime,
Oh, in our own show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you guys don't know, we had an old anime show. Most of us were on that you see right now. We're on there. Me, Chris, Carlos, Manny, and with Riku-san and your boy Lorraine.
Is the manga
god.
You guys
still there? Yeah, they're still there.
If you guys are interested in them, they actually still are on our YouTube, and we still have episodes on the YouTube, and we also still have the old episodes on the SoundCloud as well. So those oldie moldy things are still there.
Here's the funny thing about those episodes. That I'll say this and we'll wrap it up. Because when we did them at the time, they got okayish views. We go back, some will have thousands and thousands of views. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
they're kind of evergreen, Kind of evergreen.
Yeah, people are always sort of looking back to see what older shows or newer shows or shows that we had at the time on there.
No, it's not that. It's just like because we're talking about these animes that are classics and kind of semi-new. People are looking like if somebody's typing up fucking regular Lotus word, they may find our shit on it.
Exactly.
Oh man, a hip hop gamer in Torrance, yeah, man, the Warzone, the classic. That's how it is. All right, I believe we're going to wrap things up here. So let's do our outros, man. Man, you got anything?
Yeah. So just so you know, we for Excellence, the comic book, we just funded our extra deluxe edition on Kickstarter. So it's all about stretch goals now. So if you guys wanted to go, having read Excellence now, you can get the pretty much in the best form you ever could possibly want to see it, with new, with a bunch of covers inside, concept art, writings from the writer and Kari, and so it's all of that there. And tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to be having a AMA where we're going to be, it's a Twitter AMA. So if you use the hashtag Ask Excellence, you just, well, if you want to ask about the comic, you want to ask about the Kickstarter, stuff like that, or ask a deeper meaning about some of the stuff inside of the book, just tweet that, and then we'll look. We're going to be looking through all of them, and we're just going to for maybe like the rest of the night or an hour or something like that, we're going to sort of answer them through Twitter, which will be kind of fun. Also, let's see, what is it? I just put it down here. We have Infinite Frontier, which is going to be coming out really soon. It's a big old book of like a bunch of different stories from different parts of the DC universe, and so got a lot of stuff coming. So yeah, keep your eyes out.
Good stuff. All right, people, you already know.
One more thing. Hopefully this week I will be doing, because I wanted to do a throwdowns draws today, but I kind of was doing a bunch of other stuff, so I didn't get to do it. But throwdown draws, drawing Raziel, it's coming. So hope to see you then. I'll let you know.
So, since Adam's not here, make sure to stay tuned to the I Am Negan podcast. The Walking Dead is back, and it started, I think, today. Those that had AMC Plus got it last week. But if you wanna watch a recap of the show, go to thecoalition.com or the Coalition YouTube.
Yeah, with a K. Coalition with a K. Yeah, I'm Negan.
Coalition with a K.
There you go, man. All right, people, you already know, man. Make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and join the Discord where it is always popping. If you guys are watching us right now on the YouTubes, make sure you hit like and you subscribe. And you hit the little bell, and you'll be notified of whenever we go live with a question mark there with our whatchamacallit shows, the premieres, and of course the TD clips and random Tony Sakes whenever I feel like doing those. You can find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. Give us a show, throwdownshow.com, to listen to all the past episodes, even Otanime, man. And that's it. Links to all that stuff if you somehow didn't hear me in the last 10 seconds. Down below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
It has been real.
And Brian Monjoma.
I honestly feel like the puzzle genre of games is just not tapped enough yet.
I agree. More
You're not
puzzles.
wrong.
All right, people. We'll see you on Thursday. Later.
Deuces.
It is.